welcome to a very special edition of the Throwing Bagels podcast. It's Christmas Day. It's also the first day of Hanukkah as you listen to us. And even better, when we recorded this, it was Christmas Adam, right? You know what? Have you ever heard of that? I can explain.
Yeah, that's really ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Like completely ridiculous.
So Christmas Adam is because it's the day before Christmas Eve. And since Adam comes before Eve, then the 23rd is Christmas Adam.
Except the dumb people who made that up
Yeah.
aren't using the actual, don't realize that she's not, that Eve is biblical and it's not, whatever.
Yes.
Stupid people.
But churches actually are smartly using that as a way to bring people in on Christmas Adam so they're
Of course
not
they are.
standing room only on Christmas Eve. Also, Christmas Adam, the 23rd, it's also Festivus.
Now that's a real holiday.
That is. For the rest of us.
For the rest. So
Right. Airing of the grievances. I got plenty of them.
So
Well, we'll get-
people have plenty of grievances against you as well.
yes. And so you already have a sneak peek, Throwing Bagels podcast listener, of what's in store for you for this upcoming Throwing Bagels podcast. And we're coming up on our 2-year anniversary, and we have yet to do this, and we should have done it a long time ago, but we're going to do it now. And all right, we're going to introduce all of these significant others to the members of the Throwing Bagels podcast, and we're going to chat with them a little bit, get to know them so that you can know them. And I guess we'll start with, and I didn't even do the intro that we usually do.
Yeah.
So I'm Kevin Mooney, of course. Thank you. And joined by Jason Hamo. Hey, Jason.
Hello there.
Hello there. And Chris Douglas with us as well. Hello,
Kevin,
Chris.
what's up?
Chris, let's do it.
Oh, I go first?
You go first, man.
All right. So, I have a lovely Viking warrior fiance, Sarah. She grew up in Sweden, which is why she's my Viking warrior fiance. So how did we meet? We met at the height of COVID, actually.
On the internet.
On the internet. Yes. Speaking to the microphone already. So we met through one of those online dating things, and it was pretty cool because because it was COVID, you were kind of forced to actually have a conversation with someone. Like usually you're swiping right or swipe. You guys have been married for a long time, so
Yeah.
We never did that.
they have these
No.
apps where you swipe right or you swipe left. So that's how we met.
Okay.
So we talked probably before we met, probably for a good week and a half, I would say, right?
Yeah.
Probably about that. Every single night for hours and hours and hours. And it was like, bam, it was great. And then we met at a Panera Bread, right? At a Panera Bread, and the rest was history, as they say. So
It was
kinda
open?
cool.
The Panera
It
Bread
was open. So it was like restrictions,
Okay.
but you can still go in. So it was cool.
And you had masks on, so you couldn't see each other's faces,
Had masks. We couldn't, yeah, until you had to go sit down and eat. Then you could take your mask off.
which makes plenty of sense.
Total sense. Yeah, absolutely. Total 100% sense. So that's how we met. And then I think I told the story on a few episodes ago about how I proposed to her on a beautiful beach in Cabo. Tell him it was one of the most romantic things that ever happened.
It was the most romantic thing that's ever happened to me.
Yes. Yes.
Did you pay her to say that, or is that
I
true?
did. Yeah. I slipped her a hundy before the show. So
Blink twice if you're being held against your will.
so
Will
That's
the
it.
engagement last through this podcast?
maybe. We'll see.
Yes, we'll see.
We'll see how the interview goes.
Thanks for
grilling?
having me.
The grilling.
You're welcome.
I guess it's
Jason.
my turn.
Yes, your turn.
So this is my lovely wife, Leah.
Hi, Leah.
We have been married for 10 years this past August.
Wow. Has
Yeah.
it been 10 years?
It's 10
Yeah.
years. It's crazy. 10 best years ever. How did we meet? We met playing dodgeball, actually. I joined this there's this league called Zog Sports down here in the city, and I played football, I played softball, and I joined a my bunch of my friends started a dodgeball team. So playing dodgeball. Well, and one of our mutual friends, someone she went to college with, and I went to Israel with, was asking women if they wanted to play because you tend to always be short on the ladies when it comes to those sports for some reason. Not as many want to play. So Leah stepped up and she's like, "Yeah, sure, I'll play." None of her friends wanted to play, so but she wanted to play, so she joined our team, and that's how we met. And then we played for, I don't know, what was it, like a year and a half before we started dating, approximately. She was on the team. You were on the team
Yeah.
for about a year and a half before we started dating. And that's it. And the rest is history.
Wait, why did it take a year and a half?
Oh, he has no game.
Oh, this is how we're starting? Oh my God.
Oh, I warned him. I warned him I was going to be like this.
It doesn't bother me. I don't really care.
It doesn't bother him. He's good. He has no
Um,
game.
so yeah. So yeah. I don't know. Took a year and a half.
Can I tell them how you have no game? Can
No.
I tell the story?
Oh,
Which
yes,
story?
absolutely.
Which story?
Listen, we're here
Jason's
now.
birthday party.
Oh, sure. You could tell that story. I don't care. I don't get embarrassed.
For dodgeball, like the afternoon of like a friend on our team's party, and Jason and I are like,
I
and
think
this
it
is
was a
like,
Valentine's Day party, wasn't it? Or was her birthday? Something like that. I don't
I think her
remember.
birthday is Valentine's Day or like
It's
right
right
around
around there.
there.
Yeah.
It was like right before we started dating. I think we went on our first date like the next week. And we're walking to the train, and Jason's having a whole conversation with me about how like this girl arranged to have another girl there for him to meet, and how like he wanted them to get together. This whole conversation,
No,
and
she wanted us to get together.
he wanted them to get together. And then like I get home and I'm talking to a friend, and they're like, "Oh, like I think he likes you." I was like, "Not so sure." He just talked to me for like 25 minutes about this other girl he's supposed to hook up with tonight. And then he texts me and he's like, "She's not going to be able to make it." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So now I tell people he has no game because he spent the entire time talking to me about another girl.
But that wasn't my fault.
Somebody here.
I was just telling you what was happening. That's all.
Keeping me in the loop.
Keeping you in the loop. And then the day before our first date, we played, if you guys have ever played the game Never Have I Ever.
Yes.
So we played that game with our friends at a bar after dodgeball the day before our first date. So you tend to learn a lot about people on that during that game. So that was interesting.
Learned a lot about each other. Things that you probably wouldn't learn until year two in a relationship.
We learned before our first date. See?
Save time.
Exactly.
Save time.
That's right. Just get right to
Just
right to the
right
point.
to the point very quickly.
All
Well,
right, Kevin, it's your
All
turn.
right, I guess it's my turn. So, yes. So, of course, I've known my wife Allison for almost as long as I've known you guys. Frankly, so we met at Oswego, um, and it was, I think, Professor Hun's history of broadcasting class that she sat in front of me, and that's when we started, talking to each other, and it was the rest is, as they say, history from there. So that was what, Allison, 20.
October of 1997.
Okay.
Wow.
So yeah, 20, I can't do math. Is that 26, 27, something like that? It's a long
27
time
years.
ago.
27
Yeah.
years.
And Jay was also sitting with you and Maria.
Oh, was I?
Yeah, so technically I met you
I
at
didn't
the
even
same
know.
time.
Who knew?
And normally I would choose my seat and then sit in that seat the whole semester. But for some reason, that was the only class that I moved from one side of the room to the other and sat in front of you guys. And then I'd always find my seat because I was just look for the Mets jacket. And I'm like, oh yeah, sit in front of the blue and orange. And that was before I liked baseball. And so, yeah. And then I fell for the oldest trick in the book that he dropped his pen and I picked it up and we started talking. So
No,
Did you do that on
that
purpose?
wasn't on
I don't think that was
purpose.
on purpose.
I was
You think
dropping
I have
stuff.
no game? Kevin's just as bad as I am.
Oh no, I have no game, none.
That's great.
But then she sang the national anthem before the men's hockey games at Oswego, and I
Mhm.
was play-by-play broadcaster, so that was another thing that we had in common, and then it just on from there.
And
So
then Kevin and
yeah,
I
because
lived together,
I would
and then she'd bring
yeah,
us donuts, and she'd bring us Munchkins home
yeah
every day when she worked
that's
at
right.
Dunkin'.
That's right. That's great.
yeah yeah I would wear my hockey shirt, and that's kind of how we got talking in my Genesis shirt.
Yeah, see that? I mean, she liked hockey and Genesis. I mean, case closed.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin could talk about Genesis for like 3 days straight without stopping.
I
That's
could.
right.
Yeah, and then I my advisor screwed up and said I needed that class pass fail, and I didn't. I needed it for a grade, which really doesn't matter to me. I study and not study, get the same grade. But so I was like, oh, I'm gonna, hook up with the smartest guy in the class, but I actually beat him by 2 points on our paper because I'm really good at
BSing.
making stuff up.
BS. Yeah, okay.
Yes, that I was like, what am I saying? Um, and yeah, so that's how it all started.
Those were most of my papers in college.
There are some of mine too, man. I had more than enough overnight, like 4 a.m. sessions that I care to admit. So,
Ugh, I don't
Yeah.
miss those days.
no, oh, it was my senior year. I remember literally pulling an all-nighter to get a paper in, and it was the worst. I did that. I'm like, I'm never doing this again.
I did that a few times.
Yeah, me
Oh,
too.
Yeah, I did that. That was, but
A lot.
I did that
Yeah.
because I had to because I shouldn't even say it, but I will because I feel like the statute of limitations has ended by now.
Yes,
But
it
I
has.
tried to cheat on a paper, and then I got a guilty conscience, and then I realized I had to read this paper like the day before it was due, and I had to like figure it out how I was gonna write it, and I just kept like pulling things off the internet to cite, and like I was the worst. I highly recommend if you have a conscience, never try to do that.
and now you just enter a couple of sentences into Chat
Yeah,
GPT, and it
exactly.
writes it for
And you
you.
get yes.
Jeez,
It,
Yeah.
come on.
And
we
you your
didn't
whole
because
story for you.
my roommates at the time they kept telling me teacher back because back then we really didn't have the I don't know if there really was the ability to do all this, but like my friends were like, oh no, they could just type in a sentence and it'll come up. I was like, no, they can't. And they're like, yeah. And I was like all ready to go out and go partying for the night. And then my buddies did that, and I was like, oh man, now what do I do? So I actually had to write the paper, and then yeah.
I was at a bar drinking, and someone in one of my classes was like, "Did you write the paper for tomorrow?" And I was like, "Wait, what?" I had to like
What
stop
paper?
drinking, had to switch to water,
Oh,
and then go home, pull an all-nighter, and write a paper.
man.
Rough.
All good.
Ah, the good old days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta love college.
Right. So, Chris, let's talk to let's get to know our significant others a
My
little bit
my
more.
my Viking warrior
Your
princess.
Viking warrior,
That's
yes.
right. You ready for this? Don't be nervous. It's okay.
I'm
Just
very nervous.
I know.
Yeah.
She look at her. She's
It's all
terrified.
right. Don't worry about it.
It's
You're
just us
amongst
two.
friends. You're amongst
Yeah,
friends.
yeah.
Yes.
We've
Yeah.
met. We've all met.
I know.
That's
I know.
right.
All right. So for those of you who don't know, because I've said it a million times, Sarah grew up in Sweden. She came to the United States around 9 years old, about that. And your family moved to San Francisco.
Yeah.
So what are some of the differences, like culturally, like growing up, like, your son has grown up here, but you grew up in Sweden. Like, what are some of the differences there, like growing up?
I guess the traditions are different.
Like what?
Um, so like in Christmas, it's the what it okay. I have to thought. It's not Santa Claus, it's like the Light Queen. So the oldest girl like wears that like a head full of crowns. And so that's how you celebrate Christmas, not
Cool.
Santa Claus.
All right.
Santa
Is that where the
Claus.
crowns come from on this flag?
On
What?
the Swedish flag?
Yeah.
No.
No. I don't know. I
It's a
thought it was
good
a
guess,
valid
though.
question. I thought it was a
That's a
valid
good
question.
Yeah, good question.
Yeah. Wait, is there? Oh, yeah, you're talking about the
The Swedish flag.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
the
It's
Swedish
got the
flag.
it's got
They got the
the
yellow crowns on it.
well,
No,
it's
Oh
just
no, it's
there's
it's
no.
just a
no, that's
cross,
the
but
yeah,
You're
yeah.
talking
you
about
know what
the
you're thinking of? You're
Yeah.
thinking of
Jersey.
The
Swedish
jersey. I'm
national
thinking of
team
the
hockey
yeah,
jersey.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
That's what I'm thinking of.
Of
Yeah.
course.
yeah.
Of course.
That's different from the
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
that was very
Right. Sorry. You're right. The cross is on the flag, but the crowns are on the jersey. That's right.
yeah.
What do those mean then?
So that's the crown of the royal crown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah,
So one of the other major differences is like it's a socialist type
like
of
yeah.
government than versus here. What was your experience growing up in that? While you were there, obviously you were young, but what were some of the differences you noticed?
Well, just remember everyone having health care.
Timely, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
Oh, I could go for hours on
Oh,
that
God.
one.
Don't get Jason started on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Yeah. I mean,
So
that's a big one.
do you
yeah.
feel like so you moved here when you were 9, right?
Yeah.
So I have a conversation with Leah about this kind of thing, 'cause very separate but similar to at the same time. You grew up most of you grew up part of your life there, but I feel
Yeah.
like you grew up
M-
more of your life here, right? Because
Right.
you turned you were you're 9, I guess 9 and
Mhm.
9, but split it between like 18 between you turn 18. Do you feel like you grew up more there or more here?
Yeah, that's a hard question. I mean, all of my like core memories, like growing up, it's there, and then and going to another country is like really, it's kind of, it's really hard actually, uh, because it's a different, culture,
Yeah.
and you don't know like we didn't know anybody coming here, like we're not, so we just did it ourselves. So, um, I don't know. That's a hard question to
I
answer.
mean, a language barrier too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So, two major things. I mean, it's not unlike my parents coming to this country. Not
Right.
my mother still has a huge, huge, thick accent. So that, that's I can totally get that. But you don't have an accent, which is kind of cool.
No.
Yeah.
No accent.
Um,
I don't hear anything.
Nope.
nope.
She got rid of it. Just rid of the accent.
Um, no, I learned English when I was in Sweden. My dad was, he's from England, so
Yeah.
I learned the proper
You learned the
English.
Queen's English. I work for a British company. We make fun of them all the time.
That's funny. So another thing that people don't know about you is that you have an identical twin sister.
Yeah.
What is that like growing up in a household with a person that's identical to you?
Yeah, it's weird because I've always had her, so it's like, what is it like to not have it identical, Because she's always there. But yeah, I always had a friend, always. And someone to compare ourselves to, which is kind of hard growing up, because it's like, who's going to be the winner, kind of, or the loser. But yeah, we got along really well. So, and I
Are
haven't,
you
and yeah.
are you very similar? Like, do you do everything the same, or do you finish each other's sentences, that type of thing, like the twins? They always say twins do and stuff like that.
When we were growing up, I think more than we do now.
Where is your twin sister?
She's in Arizona.
Arizona. Okay.
Yeah.
All of her family's on the West Coast, so
Okay.
yeah, we're the schmucks that live on the East Coast here.
Well, you've always been on the East Coast.
I have always been on the East
What
Coast.
made Sarah move to the East Coast?
I went to Wells.
Ah,
Wells College, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
right down the road from here in the Finger Lakes. So yeah,
But
that
now it's closed.
it's closed.
Yeah.
And she never left.
No, that's true.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Well, I went to Alaska for
That's
a little
right.
while.
We're gonna
We'll get to that.
in
We'll
a
get to
second.
that.
We'll get to that in a second.
just running away.
She's going everywhere far away from where she's from.
Yeah.
Literally nowhere near where she grew
We're
up.
gonna go the exact opposite part of the country, go back, and then go back even further away.
Well, it's the
Seems like
same
she likes the cold. That's just
longitude.
saying.
Yeah, with
That's-
Sweden, it's the same. Like,
That's true.
is it longitude
I don't. Yeah,
or latitude?
is it?
I don't know. Yeah,
I don't
whatever.
remember.
Yeah, it's the same kind of.
Yeah.
Same climate, kind
Yes.
of. So, so Sarah moved to Alaska for grad school. She went to Alaska Anchorage, right? Okay,
Cool.
good. Alaska Anchorage for grad school. So, yeah. So, what was Alaska like?
It was killed. I loved it. I loved it.
It's because you're a Viking.
Yeah. And it's so beautiful and all the, you know, animals.
The moose. Don't you have a moose story, don't you?
Yeah, well, I was chased by a moose and it was very
Oh,
scary.
nice.
Yeah.
How'd that work out? I mean, you lived
You're
it.
still here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was my dog, and I didn't know that she had like a little, moose child. And
Oh, yeah.
then she just started actually running towards me and my twin sister, actually. And they were like,
God.
we're just run.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was very scary.
It's
Yeah,
terrifying.
that's
can-
not a fun situation.
No.
I got
No.
chased by geese once for the same reason, but
Oh
totally
my
different.
God.
I'm not as scared as geese, not as scared of geese as I
Yeah.
am a moose. I don't want Bullwinkle running at me.
Right?
Yeah.
Seriously.
I mean,
Those are
it's
big animals.
they
Those
are.
huge
I-
animals.
They're
I was just gonna
humongous.
say that. Like they can get up to 800, 900 pounds. I mean,
Yeah.
they're beasts.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes,
jeez.
they are.
Better than a
So-
rhino.
So
My
that's Sarah,
cousin-
my Viking
Yeah.
warrior princess.
That is fantastic that you were able to somehow cross paths despite all your different backgrounds. It just goes to show you how small the world is, really.
It is.
Yeah,
It's so
interesting.
small, man. It's
Yeah.
it's so cool. It's so cool how it happened. It's just by chance, And that's how, I mean, these things happen. That's how it works sometimes.
Does your
I was
family,
just
one more
thinking-
question for you. Does your family like the cold? Like, or they like obviously live in Arizona or now, but like do they like the cold, or are they just like, no, we want to get as far away from the cold as possible?
No, they want to get as far away from the cold as possible. Like my twin sister and my mom was in Alaska too, and they're like, never again. Like never, never again.
Like, ooh, warm weather. I'm staying here.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, I was just gonna slip in really quick that my cousin actually hit a moose with a car.
Oh my
Oh.
God.
Oh,
He lived, but he
car didn't
went
live.
he went right underneath it, and it was the female, and it like rolled the roof of the car back like a tin can, and yeah, and then it died, and then the male moose was right there, and so the ambulance comes and they're trying to get the male moose away from the scene because it wouldn't leave, and yeah, they were on the thruway
Oh.
coming. I think they were going back from an SU game to Albany. So he got a
Syracuse, damn
moose. He got a moose tattoo to, basically say he survived.
Wasn't that his first date with his now wife?
I think so, yeah. And he met his
Wow. Yeah.
he
Oh,
met
man.
the in-laws. He met the in-laws in the emergency room.
That's
And he really
crazy.
couldn't talk because he bit through his tongue. Like
Oh,
Oh.
yeah, I don't know if his head went. I think his head hit the steering wheel or something, and so his face did get kind of. And he just had his face repaired from rugby, like he had plastic surgery, and then he cut the same part of his face.
Oh,
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 my
man.
God. Oh.
So yeah, he has quite the story. And like, I mean, he shows up in the emergency room and they're covered in moose hair. Like they didn't get to keep the moose meat. I don't know
Did
what
the moose
happened.
just like run in front of his car, like the way deer run in front of cars?
I think so, but he actually went right underneath it. So like if he hit it any other way, it probably would not have been. They wouldn't have made it.
wow.
But he somehow went underneath it. I think he saw like the male moose, and then like it was too late to avoid the other one or something. It's been a while. That was like back in 2006.
Wow.
I didn't even know there were moose. I didn't even know we had moose in New York.
Oh yeah, we've had moose down in Fulton.
Huh? Who knew?
Big
Huh.
baby
I
ones.
didn't know that.
Wow,
Oh.
I've never seen a moose in New York before.
Yeah.
I find that to be a first date story that's pretty hard to top.
That's
Like,
pretty good.
yeah,
Yeah,
you
that's a
can't.
good
Pretty
one.
Pretty
good.
good.
That's a good one. Okay, so I guess it's my turn now. So as you guys know, we've talked about recently, she just ran the New York City Marathon this year. And for the second time. That was the second time she ran it. And she actually entered the lottery to run the Chicago Marathon next year, but she didn't get in, so she decided that she was going to raise money for the Alzheimer's Foundation, and run it next year and just raise money for it. Well, one of her friends got in, so they're both going to run it next year in Chicago. So,
That's cool.
yeah, so she's gonna run a new marathon that she hasn't run before.
Yay.
Cool.
I'm
The
excited.
only time I run is if something is chasing me. So if you see me running, I should run.
You go the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what's wrong with me. My best friend is like on a runner's high right now, and somehow whenever one of us decides to do something stupid, the other one has to go along with it. So she got in, and I was like, oh well, I guess I'll just do it. So I have a half marathon coming up in March, and then Jay and I are both going to put in for the Brooklyn half, and then I have the marathon in October, and he has the marathon in November.
So what led to your interest in running marathons?
Running more marathons. I started running in 2011 when I broke up with someone. I needed something to do. And there was like a running class at the local gym. And I couldn't even run like a minute straight without dying. And then I just like slowly got competitive about it.
Hmm.
And then I wanted to torture said best friends. And I told her we're doing a marathon. And then it just worked into this whole thing where now she's torturing me back for it. But it's kind of, there's like a small little run, like there's like a nice little brag component about being like, I ran a marathon. So
That's pretty cool. That is pretty
yeah.
cool.
And some days it's like really relaxing, other days it's really hard, but I could go months without running and then just like run on, then like start running again. So it's not too bad. And I got Jason into it.
No, I think I was running before we met, but
Not like
not
half
as much. I wasn't
marathon
running half marathons or anything like that. I was just
or
running like,
marathon.
yeah, yeah. I was running like a few miles or something like that. But yeah, she's the
Now
one who
you're
got me to start running more distances. So also Leah is like Chris, but Chris is now getting out of it. But in the insurance world, Leah's worked in insurance for a very long time. She actually worked in insurance while she went to law school. Right now she works in cyber insurance. So
Mhm.
companies get attacked and she has to pay out all the money.
A
true.
lot of
All that ransom.
yeah, I was just gonna. Is how serious is ransomware? Are ransomware attacks these days?
Extremely.
Yeah.
Either the ransom, most of the time the attackers go in and they exfiltrate the data before they let on that they're actually in your system.
Hmm.
And then it's either the demands are massive to get the money back, like we see demands like 20, $30 million,
Oh my God.
or and the company pays it, or the company doesn't pay it. But then it takes them like MGM last year, like how long it took them to get back online. They didn't want to pay a ransom, and it took them like 3 or 4 weeks to get back online. And so their business loss is just
Wow.
as bad. So like the carriers are responding to one or another. But yeah, the ransomware is pretty bad. Just picked up a little bit again in
Hmm.
the industry. It always picks up around the holidays. That's when they like to attack because people aren't paying attention. So like they can get away
Exactly.
with like being in
Hmm.
the systems for longer without anyone noticing.
And the thing is, you pay the ransom, and there's no guarantee they're gonna do what they say they're gonna do. It's not like they're
They're
gonna, you know.
Yeah, for them. So we like to say like for the most part, like this is their business. So the majority of them do what they say they're going to do because it's their business, and it's like
Business.
if
Yeah.
we don't, yeah, if like we don't like stand up to what we say we're going to do, who give us the money, the next person isn't going to. Um, But like for our purposes or company's purposes, like you still have to report it, whether or not you pay the ransom. Like you're still reporting it. You're just buying back the fact that it's not on the dark web. And people still sue anyway.
They're very ethical.
They are very ethical.
Yeah.
I enjoy reading like the ransom notes where they're like, it's like they're speaking in broken English and they're trying to be funny, and they're like, "You'll do this." You're like, okay. They're like really happy with themselves, so you know.
You know,
They're
five,
making millions of dollars out of it. I mean, hey, wish I could do that.
Yeah, they
And
all
get
get
away with
caught
it.
eventually.
Well, then.
5 stars. Ransom demand relatively low. Released files right away after paying. 5 stars.
Exactly. Right. There you go. They did what they said they were going to do.
Yep. Yeah.
And Leah has worked in multiple types of insurance. I mean, she did med mal. She did, what else did you do? You did,
I did med mal, I did social workers, I did day spas, I did employment practices, I did financial institutions. I've been in insurance for 17 years, so I've covered a gamut. I did my first interview and job was at AIG, and they asked me if I knew anything about insurance, and I was like, home, auto, renters, medical. They're like, "Do you know anything about professional liability?" I was like, "No," and they still gave me a job. So here I am.
Get sucked right into the insurance
Yeah.
world.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I was at AIG when like AIG crashed the market.
Hmm.
We were like watching like our stocks go up and well, go basically down. So when I graduated law school, there were like not really that many jobs to be had. So I just stayed in insurance. That's a
So
law
have
degree for no reason.
you've never actually like wanted to pursue law, like being an attorney in anything, like doing contracts or anything like that?
No, because that's what insurance kind of is. Like for me, like reviewing the policy for coverage is contracts and
Yeah.
like um I get to negotiate stuff. Like with MedMal, I got to do a lot of like case law. I still do case law stuff now. So it's like all the aspects of it, but I don't have to bill. And
Right.
I work 9 to 5, and even that sometimes is like debatable. Like no one bothers me. So everyone was coming over from like working in big law, and I was like, oh, I'm already here. So I kind of just
Hmm.
stuck it out, and I really like it.
she
That's
finally made it into the area that she likes more than more than any other
Yes,
area.
I wanted to be in cyber. So I've been doing cyber for 6 years. So I'm pretty happy.
there's something to be said for the 9 to 5 because I'm sure law firms
Yes.
they are 24/7, man. So no thanks.
I have a few attorney friends and it's not 9 to 5, I can assure you that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like if we get a case in, we assign it out to our law firm and they
Right.
can be on the call at 2 o'clock in the morning because they have to be on call all night because these cyber attacks can happen at any time.
Yeah.
But we have like a hotline. So for us, it's like, we'll catch you in the morning, but they're working at 2 a.m. So I like my end. May not make as much money, but better work-life balance.
Yes.
And also, so Leah loves to decorate our house with
I like themes.
for every holiday, every non-holiday, just some sort of a theme. Like she keeps Target in business by buying and Amazon by buying like every pillow cover you can possibly imagine, every blanket you can possibly imagine. Winter, St. Patrick's Day, Fall Day, May Day,
Oh, maybe.
July 4th, doesn't matter what it is.
Mayday. I don't see
It
the Fourth of
doesn't matter
July.
what it is. I am being a little facetious, but for the most part, it's like you name a blanket, you name a holiday or non-holiday that like people celebrate things, and we probably have pillowcases and blankets for
We
Halloween.
do. We have blankets, pillowcases, door signs, bath mats, doormats, kitchen towels, um, pillows.
It's not a problem.
And then we go to Hershey every summer. So when we were at Hershey this past August, I may have bought 4 pillows, like different. One was a Hershey Kiss, one was a Twizzler. When we go back, I'm going to buy a Hershey blanket. And we have, like, when we first walk into our house, like a couch nugget thing. And so that's now the new Hershey Park area of decoration.
We also have a coat rack. This is both of our problem though. We have a coat rack that we have that when we lived in our first apartment in Hoboken together, and the people who were there before us left it. They were just like they didn't want to bring it with them, so they left it. So we just kept it, and we decided that we were going to plaster it with like all these different types of stickers. So like now, whenever we go to a new brewery, we buy a sticker, we put it on there, or like, all these different things,
Anything.
all
Anything
these
that
different types
gives
of
us a
stickers.
sticker, it goes
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So we get like all the moveons.org stickers. We got the brewery ones. Your daughter's down there. I didn't even hear her walk past me. I do like
Sarah
her
loves stickers. She will take any sticker wherever it is, doesn't matter what it is, what it's for. She will grab the sticker and she'll just keep it.
Yep.
She doesn't put it anywhere. She just likes to keep it.
Saving it
She's
for
saving
when
it.
I want to put it somewhere.
Fair enough.
We'll send you a picture later of
Perfect.
our sticker collection. But I started doing it for the kids. And so Sydney has like, 100 Taylor Swift stickers
Oh yeah.
because every time she goes to a birthday party, all her friends have a Taylor Swift theme. We have so
Oh, okay. I remember when I was a kid, they had the puffy stickers, like the
Oh
puffy ones.
yeah.
Those are outstanding. Puffy
and
ones.
the oilies and the velvet ones.
Yeah. Of
The
course,
oilies
Oh,
were my
don't
the
forget
favorite.
scratch and
Scratch and
sniff.
Sniff.
Scratch
Yeah.
Oh
and
yeah.
Sniff was great.
Yeah.
I loved my sticker books. They were so cool. Jason's
There you
showing you.
go.
Oh, nice.
Those are stickers that I've had since I was like a little kid.
Oh
Okay, but
wow.
Jay, why don't you explain why you're able to find that book so easily in like 2 seconds?
Because my lovely wife decided she was going to come down to the basement where I work and decide to clean the whole area and
And
start
organize it.
organizing it the way she wanted to organize. Like, leave my stuff
Oh
alone. And she started
wow.
like,
Wow.
But look what he was just able to do.
Yeah.
I
Very
knew where this was the whole time.
Leah, you wouldn't throw any of his stuff out, would you? If you're organizing, you would at least run it by him first, right?
I would run it by him.
Okay, good.
But
Kevin, what are you alluding to here?
he he has a habit of like keeping papers just sitting there, and I wanted to touch the papers and he was like, don't touch them, but they're literally like receipts from a year ago that don't need to be kept, and he still has them sitting there. Just throw them away.
I will eventually.
It's fun. I think this makes a great segue
Perfect.
because Allison is a professional organizer, and so she's been doing that for 8 9 years. Okay, 10. So Allison, in your role as a professional organizer, how often were you dealing with the decorations, the holiday decorations and stuff like that as you would go through clients' houses?
Oh yeah. I had this one client that she was kind of organized with her stuff, but with her time and her mental health, that was what she needed more help with. But she had the most decorations I've ever seen, and for every holiday. And I do the same thing. I grew up. My grandmother, I mean, my both sides of the family kind of, but my one grandmother, every holiday, the whole house was decorated. So I try to do that here too. So, but our house is kind of small, so I started switching things out, and so you can enjoy them better. And because you have too much stuff, I I don't like clutter. Obviously, that's why I'm a professional organizer, I guess. But so yeah, that you know, I think what ends up happening is once people find out you collect something to, especially for the holidays, you end up with a lot of ornaments and stuff.
What made you
Yes.
want to begin doing that?
I had a job that I really loved, but I had to switch gears, and I always wanted to start my own business. And we were riding in the car one day, and I just said, okay, what am I good at? I'm like, I can organize people. And I didn't even know it was a thing back then. And I Google it, and I'm like, this is a thing. I'm like, I can get paid to clean people's rooms, and so it started off that I was, just like helping people clean out, whatever. And I didn't really want to help anyone move, but it quickly turned into that and quickly turned into a very physical job. And then I would get called by banks to clean out a house, an estate. So sometimes my clients had already passed away. And like I had one client, I did her house in 48 hours and she had passed away. And it was like her daughter hardly took anything out of the house. So it's like me going into your house and completely emptying it. And so that was how, and it got really crazy, especially after the pandemic, because I think everyone being home was like, I want all my stuff gone. So like I got really super busy. But now I'm starting to back off of the more physical part of it. I'm just getting so I can't move furniture and, you know, hundreds of boxes and all that stuff anymore. I'm like, I want to go back to what it was supposed to be, which was, oh, you want me to help you clean out your closet, or whatever. Um, so I could tell you stories for days. I've met a lot of interesting people. And that's one thing. I mean, you really get to know people when you're touching all of their stuff. So the people that had passed away, or if like their spouse had passed away, and I would literally be going through everything. I felt like I knew them by the time I was done with their house. Um, so some pretty interesting things that you'd find in people's houses too.
Well, I know, Allison, there were times where you would show up and I think the maybe the wife ordered it for the husband, but didn't tell the husband that you were coming in to do stuff.
Oh, the worst one was right when I first started. So I started putting down rules. Rule number one, always do a consultation. I don't care who you are, what you want, where you are. I was trying to never do, because what happened was it was a realtor and I was trying to get in with the realtors. So I was like, I'll do whatever you want me to do. Uh, yeah, turns out she didn't tell her parents I was coming. Her parents didn't speak English, only Chinese. And she just left me there for 10 hours. And I was like, this is never going to happen again. And so, like, the sons came home, and I'm like, please translate to your mom. Like, she just had me move all of her stuff out of this room that they wanted decluttered out onto the patio. I'm like, what if it rains? And I didn't even finish the job after 10 hours. And it was just, I never heard back from that realtor. And I'm thinking that was probably not a good impression. But like, I had no idea what was walking into.
Is there something that you have found cleaning that was of like great value that the family didn't know about?
I was hoping one of my last, when I did the whole house, I thought I found diamonds. And because they were in like one of those film canisters, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, and it was actually a client that she was in a nursing home, and she had dementia, so we couldn't even ask her. But I used to work with her niece, and so they took them somewhere, and they ended up. She told me they weren't worth anything. They're probably from Herkimer, but Herkimer diamonds can be worth something. But like I literally found two handfuls on two separate occasions in that house. The only other time that I got excited was my client had passed away, and I just came in to clean it out, and it was a hoarding situation. And normally I like to go through everything myself, but it was a time crunch because of the bank and everything. So they're like, just get all the thing, anything that's worth anything out of there to go to auction. So they basically came in and cherry picked, but they don't really care about clothes as much unless they're, something fancy. So there was this closet that was full. Then I had the people that come and take all the recyclables or, everything to the dump. And I said, don't go in that closet. I just had this feeling. and I found like $1,700, a coin collection, and some semi-precious stones, which I never found out if those were worth anything. But that was the largest amount of money I've ever found. And I never really found anything close to that. Like you always hear these stories and everything, but I did end up with something that was a necklace that was made out of gold. And he said, I don't want anything in this. And I said, I better go through this, because my clients would do that a lot. They would be like, I don't want anything in this box. And, so I would always go through it and make sure. Well, I threw it in my car, and it was like 2 years later. Like I was so busy that I just threw it in my basement and didn't worry about it. And we just found out a little while ago, because the price of gold went up, that it was worth what, 1,700, I think.
Wow.
So that's the only time I've ever found anything that we found out. Because I would send things to auction, and you hope that there was something, but like I've always, like, these weird paintings or something, but I never did find anything else.
Do you get a cut of anything if you find it and it's worth anything?
No. So like when I found that money, for example, I could have definitely pocketed it, but that's not who I am. That's not what I do. And the guy that was cleaning out the house said, God, you need to keep that. I'm like, no. Plus everything that was in her house was going to charity too. So I wouldn't have kept it. But and so as a professional organizer, like, I mean, that's why a lot of people were hiring me, was to clean up. Like, I would have to like make sure I don't throw out, important documents and photos or whatever I thought was important to pass on to the family. So it's kind of like when people don't want to deal with something, but you're trusting someone to like be very thorough. So that's why, I mean, I checked that little canister and found diamonds in it. Other people could have just like kept throwing things out. And I'm like, you never know where people stash things.
What kinds of advice did you find yourself giving to your clients? Did you give it like any one particular piece of advice the most often?
When people call me, they're really nervous. It's
Mhm.
like talking to a priest. I'm like, I am not going to throw all your stuff out. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to, be like, why the hell do you have this? Because they beat themselves up enough about it themselves. So basically, I was there to like, when I did the consultation, I'd get to know my client, and I would know what was important to them. So when we came across things, if they started throwing everything out, I'm like, okay, let's take a break here. And like, I don't think you should throw this out, but let's, maybe you could throw this out, and, stuff like that. But actually, what I learned from my clients was, because a lot of my clients were older women that were either not married or widowed or didn't have children. So, like, they had a whole house that they had to deal with themselves. And we don't have kids. And so, like, hit me one day. I was like, what are we going to do about all our stuff? We have no one to hand it down to. I thought, like, and I was just telling Kevin this the other day. I'm like, I always thought, oh, I'd be, 90 something years old in a rocking chair and want to look at my scrapbooks. And I'm like, no, I want to keep living until I'm not living. I don't want to look back. Like, I want to keep going forward. And I think that's the biggest lesson I learned from my clients. Because unfortunately, I've had clients that they hire me because they're dying. So they're trying to clean out, 40, 50 years worth of stuff. And if they don't have kids, what's going to happen to my stuff? And so on the one hand, your stuff may be important to someone else, but on the other hand, like Kevin said, you can't take it with you.
Yeah.
Well,
That's a
one
good point.
thing that I learned, a good tip from Allie was, if you have like a shirt or some piece of memorabilia that you pick up and you're like, oh, I really like this, but sometimes you just take a picture of it and you keep the picture, and then you can get rid of the actual object, and it's more or less the same. You kind of get the same, feelings from looking at the picture that you would with that thing you've been lugging around.
Listen,
So,
I'm not getting rid of my jerseys, and Kevin, you're
oh,
not
me
getting rid of
neither.
your hats either. I know that for a fact.
Well, I would make
Someday.
his I would make his t-shirts that he really wanted to keep into pillows. So that
Or
That's a
was,
good
quilt.
idea. That's a great
yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
I save all the kids stuff so that when they turn 18, they'll have like a quilt of like their baby clothing and like
Yeah.
whatever important thing that they've done for school where we get like 1,000,001 shirts or whatever it may be.
That's a great idea.
Great idea, Leah.
Jason still has his books from when he was 7 years old and he copied down the scores from the newspaper. He won't let me throw those away. I'm like,
No, of
It's like a
course not.
keepsake.
Of
It's like
course
I used to
not.
when I was a kid, Kevin, you'll understand because you were from Staten Island.
you don't
When
look at them.
That's not the point. When I was a kid, I would take the Staten Island Advance, Kevin, and I would literally copy the box scores verbatim from the Mets games and the Ranger games and the Knicks games, and I would write them in a notebook. Or sometimes I'd even watch the game and just copy down, like write it as it was happening. And she like doesn't understand.
Yeah,
She
I
doesn't get
mean,
it. She just doesn't get it. It's okay.
I let you keep your bobblehead. I gave them a whole area.
Whole area.
Whole
Got a whole
area.
area right here.
You do.
I had one more question for Allie. Did you throw a bagel at Romney?
So I got thinking this after the last podcast, and I don't believe I ever did because, first of all, I wouldn't have stolen one from the dining hall, and then second of all, I would have to get there early to sing the national anthem, and I don't think it would have looked good for me to throw a bagel. So I don't think I ever did.
This was a blast. This was so great having you guys on the pod. We'll have to do it again. Part
More
two.
things we could talk about.
there's a lot of there's a lot of things. We're just scratching the surface here.
we are.
We'll wait another 2 years.
When you run out of gas, we're the fillers.
That's right. There you go.
Yeah, right.
Like, oh, we got no guests this week? Ladies, come on.
Well, thanks again for being with us, and Sarah and Leah and Allison. Greatly appreciate it. And Allison, love you.
Oh, babe, I love you.
Oh, that was great. I love you too, Leah.
Okay, and that was the Throwing Bagels podcast with the significant others, Sarah and Leah and Allison, and it was great.
Yeah, it was fun.
fantastic.
It was great to get to know everyone even more. Like we've met before and whatever,
Yeah.
but even though we just honestly I met Sarah for the first time. Kevin, I'm pretty sure I think you also met Sarah for the first time this past summer. And we didn't actually really get a chance to like talk that much. You know what I mean? And like get to know each other really that much. Like
Right.
I'd known Allison for a really long time and and you guys have met Leah before, but I don't even think you guys have ever really sat down and talked to her that much,
Right? Yeah, not really. No, you're right.
I feel confident I can speak for the two of you when I say that we're grateful that they allow us to do what we do, because they've got to do some other stuff to help while we're here blabbing away and doing
That's
research and posting on social media.
Oh yeah.
So
No,
thank
definitely.
you.
Yes,
Allison,
much
we're
appreciated. Yes, they're very supportive.
Yes.
She's like, "You got a podcast today?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh,
Damn
man,
it.
okay." She's like, "What are you doing tonight?" I'm like, "I got to write a blog."
Yeah.
Like, really?
Yeah. It's like for me this night, Monday night, I have to edit or record, and then Tuesday night I'm editing, and yeah, so she has to feed the cat because usually it's my job to feed the cats at night. But when I'm doing the podcast and editing, I can't, so she steps up and does it. So it's great.
Team effort.
It is.
Very
It
much
is a
so.
team effort.
Mhm.
Yep. So a little bit of Mets news. So earlier today, as we speak, it's Christmas Adam. Sean Manaea.
I mean,
Please don't say that.
who does that?
You don't
What kind of
like that,
sick-
Christmas?
No, I
Adam?
hate it. I hate it.
It's so
I think it's
stupid.
the dumbest thing ever.
It's so ridiculous.
Oh my god.
So they bring back Manaea, which is really a signing that I wanted to see as a Met fan. And now
Yeah.
I think next is Alonso, and we're check.
Yeah,
That's it.
definitely. I mean, it was great to see. Every Met fan wanted Mania back.
Hmm.
Of all the people they had last year, the starters that they had last year, Severino was great for them. He did a great job compared to what he had been doing for the Yankees. And Quintana was pretty good, but
Hmm.
all Mets fans, they wanted Mania back. I
Yeah.
mean, they probably paid him slightly more than he probably should have gotten, but whatever. He's only got 3 years, so it's
Yeah.
3 years, 25 million a year. Not my money. What do I care? You know what I mean? But
And there's really no market for Alonso other than the Mets.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless there's a
Yeah.
dark horse like a Texas Rangers or something like that jumps in the fray.
Yeah.
But other than that, it seems like his best option right now is to just come back to Queens.
Or the Dodgers just to piss everyone off.
imagine that.
The
Imagine they
Dodgers.
just sign him for just S and Gs.
Boy,
Yeah.
oh boy.
I at that point I would just be like, I give up. Just give him the World
Yeah,
Series.
right.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like, it's insane at this point. But no, I mean, where is he going to go now? Like you said, he's got no place else to go. He's
Yeah.
between a rock and a hard place. The only thing I could see is just, because typical Scott Boras, just being the person he is and just trying to drive it
Yeah.
up. And I'm like, dude, you have nothing to stand on really anymore. Like, maybe, like you said, maybe there's a team out there, who knows? But like, or from the 5 years, maybe a sixth,
Yeah.
maybe option for a sixth, and
Mhm.
that's it.
So on our last podcast, I had mentioned a little bit about my Mets hat collection or my cap collection in general.
Mhm.
And so I did my homework.
Oh wow, you're
And
reporting back?
I'm reporting back, and
Okay.
I took inventory of all the hats I own. Okay. And here, and I tallied it. I tallied it all up. So I have a total. Okay, all right, here, take a guess. How many hats do I have in total?
I'm going to go 150.
Okay.
Ooh, that's high. I'm gonna go 86.
86.
Yeah.
Okay. Total of 129 caps
Oh,
Wow.
that was close.
in my collection that I have accumulated over the course of 30 something years.
Except I win Price is Right rules because I didn't go
That's
over it.
true. That's true.
So a total of 20 miscellaneous,
What does that mean?
just random stuff, like
Okay.
like a hat from a game show or like
Okay.
stuff that promo hats, just random stuff that I've collected. 7 Oswego hats.
Okay.
Sick. I'm not going in order here. It's too late. I should have organized this better.
That's
but I
all right.
didn't.
That's
That doesn't
okay.
matter.
That's all right.
So 6 Rangers hats, 2 Knicks hats. That's all. And I've acquired both within the last like 2 months.
Okay.
4 Giants hats. I have 1 Brooklyn Cyclones cap, and I have 5 Binghamton Mets / Rumble Ponies, 13 Syracuse Mets hats. And I have 5 Major League Baseball caps from other teams. So there was a phase when I was just out of college. I have like an A's, the Detroit Tigers, Boston Red Sox. I was collecting AL caps.
The classics. Yeah.
The classics. So I've got 5 of those, and I have a grand total of 70 New York Mets hats.
That's great.
70.
crazy. That is crazy.
Wow.
So-
So more than half of your hats are Mets hats.
Correct.
Wow.
Correct. So I thought I would trot out a handful of them
Oh wow.
for
All
you
right.
and for our audience on YouTube.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's
This
see
is
what let's
very
see what's going on
Watching,
here.
like, and subscribe.
Very
You know the
exciting,
deal.
yes.
You know the deal.
Yeah,
So the
let's-
first one I wanted to show was the first hat I've ever had. Right. This is the corduroy hat, right, that I was talking about way back when. This
Yeah.
is the adjustable. See, there it is. See the
Look at that
corduroy.
thing.
Look at that.
Oh
Look
my
at that.
Look at
god.
that.
That's not a fitted hat.
No, it is not a
That
fitted
is
hat.
not.
But I've had this since I was 8 or 9 years old.
Wow, and it
So,
still fits. Look at
kidding.
It
that.
does.
Look at that.
It's one of the very few fitted hat or adjustable hats I have that actually fits my head. And even better, like it's not like it's on the last rung either. They still
Oh,
got,
look at you.
that.
yeah, I got plenty of room
Wow.
to go on that
got
one.
2 more rungs.
So the next one, and you'll recognize this one. Uh, this one is actually
The white
25
one?
years
Do you have the
old.
white one?
Not, nope, not that one.
25.
25. Take a guess. You know what this one is, right?
Oh.
This is the Mercury Mets
Oh my
Mercury
God. I totally forgot
Mets.
from
about that.
1999.
Oh my God. That was horrible. I totally forgot
Wow.
about that.
Look at that
I
hat.
can't believe you bought
This
that
is
hat. Oh my God.
vintage. This
That
is
thing
this is
is
vintage
awful.
right
Wow.
here.
What a terrible logo.
They probably don't even have that in the Hall of Fame. They were like, no, we're not bringing that in here.
I think of Oral Hershiser every time I see this hat. I think of Oral because I think he
Wow.
was the starter for the one game that they wore the
Was
Mercury
he?
Mets
I'm gonna have
Jeez.
to look that
caps.
up.
And
Man.
so, yeah, so Mercury Mets from 1999. And I mean, I had to pull everything out of my closet to get to these hats. So I'm like, I didn't want to have them laying around and then have to go, tear through my closet again.
Hmm.
So I pulled out a handful. I pulled out, the original one, Mercury Mets. And if you have any requests, I can play the requests, guys.
Wow.
But then we
Piano bar
have
here.
the pièce de résistance, right?
Ah, yes. The
There we go.
classic. Man, I wish I still had mine.
So the college, the bar
Yeah,
hat.
that's the
Those
one we were
hats
talking
were
about
so
last
Yeah.
time. Yep.
classic.
It's too bright.
I
It's too
never had
bright for
that
my
hat.
webcam.
I actually never had that one, believe it or not.
Really?
No,
I thought
So
everyone had that.
never had it.
it's kind of washed out on the low quality webcam that I have, but there's yellow bars that you can kind of see it
Yeah, yeah,
there.
you kind of see
There
it.
we
Yeah,
go. See
yeah,
that?
yeah.
So like every college in America probably had these
Yeah.
kinds of hats back in the late 90s.
I think we need to
So,
petition.
yeah,
We need to petition someone to make those again.
I think
Yeah, right.
totally. I think they should totally bring these hats back because they're, like the retro. I mean, clearly revisiting the 80s and 90s is now a cottage industry in
Yes.
I
television
mean, it kind of
and
is. Yeah.
culture. So let's go. Let's bring them back. What can we start a petition or something? Or
Yeah, we got. Well, I don't even know what the name of that company was. It had a G on the back, didn't it?
it did. Hold on. The game.
The game that probably doesn't even
Game.
Oh
exist
yeah, that's
anymore.
right. The game. I
Yeah.
remember them. That's right. They were the ones who.
So
Oh, guess who was on the night that. I mean, guess so I just looked it up. Guess who was on that team who they showed a video of? Ricky. Ricky B.
Ricky
Ricky.
Henderson.
Ricky was playing left
Oh
field that day.
wow.
Wow, no kidding.
And Oral was the pitcher. They were playing the Pirates.
What memory from Kevin? That's crazy.
Yeah. Isringhausen pitched in that game. They were played. They were losing. I think they lost that game. If I
Of course.
believe. I mean, it looks like they did.
Of course
But
they did.
yeah.
Well, 99 was a hell of a year for
I
that was
mean,
the
yeah. Well,
Mojo
Kenny
Rising
Rogers.
Mets. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kenny Rogers.
Of course.
Kenny Rogers.
Damn it, Kenny
Jeez.
Rogers.
Uh, but that, yeah. So those are just three of the 129 hats that I own. I mean, if you want, I can bring back another three out of the archive next time, whatever.
Do you have the
We'll
white
see.
the white Mets hat?
Yes, I do. I do.
That was also like I think a 99.
97.
Was it? I thought it was
97.
99.
96 was the last year they were strictly orange and blue. 97 was the white. 98 was the black.
Mm-hmm.
And then like 99, 2000 was like when they had the all black jerseys, I think, something like
Yes.
that, somewhere around
Yeah.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Had to have been 99 because I think they wore those jerseys.
I had the white hat.
Yeah.
I got rid of it a long time ago, but I had the
Yeah.
white hat at one point in time.
I've parted with a couple of Mets hats in my life because they were just gone. They were like, forget it.
I used to
These
have
are
a
not
bunch
gonna
of
make it.
hats, but like hats that like I had a bunch of hats that would never even fit me anymore. Like fitted fitted hats that would never fit me anymore.
Mm.
Like when I was younger, like I had a Seattle hat, I had a White Sox hat, but those would never fit me anymore. So I think I just got parted ways with them once they were never going to fit my head anymore.
Yeah, I had a lot of hats too back in the day, but I don't wear hats a whole lot more anymore. Like that's I don't know why. I just stopped wearing hats. Well, not totally, but
I used to wear them all the time, but I really don't anymore. Like I'll wear them. I mean, when the sun's out, I have
Oh,
to
yeah,
wear
for
them
sure.
because I'm gonna
Yes.
get burned.
I
But
pretty much wear it every day. I literally pretty much, except if I'm in the office, I pretty much wear a hat every day now.
Huh.
Like I walk my kids to school, and if I walked my kids to school one day not that long ago, and the crossing guard was like, "You're not wearing a hat today." She's like, "I've never seen you without a hat on." So apparently, I wear a hat all the time now. So
outdoors, all yeah, me like I the sun, man, just the light, it's too bright.
yeah, now it's all the time. So now I feel like I'm collecting more hats than I ever had before because I constantly wear hats. So I buy new
Yeah.
hats.
So I have hats I've owned for at least 20 years now, and I haven't worn them yet. They still got the sticker on them. I'm like, all
No,
right,
man. Well, there's your
but
next block, Kevin.
I know I took pictures, so I'm already tipping the hand. That's what the next blog is all about.
Excellent.
Is some of the other hats in my archive. So there you go.
I actually just thought of a good one for myself, the next one. So I got one. I
Okay.
got one in the bank now.
All right, cool. So hard to believe, guys, that 3 days from the time this blog or this podcast airs, so is our 2 year anniversary of our first ever podcast on
Wow.
Throwing
It's
Bagels.
crazy.
Well, happy anniversary. How
Happy
about that?
anniversary, guys.
You didn't buy me anything?
No, sorry. You didn't buy me anything.
That's true.
So we'll just celebrate together
We'll toast.
and we'll toast.
Yes.
We'll toast to it.
Tip of the cap. And hopefully we have many more. So
Yeah. 2 years. Wow. That's
I can't
Crazy.
believe
who and they thought it wouldn't last.
and it was, when we started, so Throwing Bagels is a nod to our SUNY Oswego hockey, history. But we were thinking, okay, we're going to talk mostly sports, and that's kind of what we set out doing. But then it kind of said, you know what? There's a lot of Oswego grads, a lot of alumni in sports. So we kind of branched out there, and we're like, you know what? Let's pull in Oswego people from outside sports. And that's kind of
Yeah.
what we've kind of evolved into is a reflection of how proud we are to be Oswego alumni and how great the experience was for us and how life changing it was, because it absolutely was.
Yeah.
Yes. Agreed.
And so I think of that every time we put a podcast together. It's Oswego led us to this. We wouldn't
Right.
have done this otherwise. We wouldn't have met otherwise.
That's
Right.
true. That is true.
And hey, it's great that we've had at least a couple of guests now that they booked themselves. They emailed us and said,
Yeah,
hey,
right.
can I come on? I'm like,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
this is fantastic. So if you're
That's-
listening and you're an Oswego alum, or hell, even if you're not an Oswego alum,
That's
you
right.
just want to jump on the podcast, just email us, throwingbagelspodcast@gmail.com. You can check us out online, throwingbagels.com. Socials are all up there as well. I tried to add, what did I try to do? I tried to add a Blue Sky link, but it wasn't
Yeah.
working. They don't have the
Okay.
butterfly logo yet.
Oh, wow.
So, but we are on Blue Sky now, so you can find us there. Throwing Bagels dot whatever it is, bsky.social. What is it? I don't know.
I don't know,
One
some
of them.
weird thing.
Something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
just search.
Just look up Throwing Bagels.
Just
You'll
look
find
up
it.
Throwing Bagels. It's there.
You'll get there.
find us. Great job, guys. Happy anniversary. Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy anniversary.
Yes.
Happy New
Merry
Year.
Christmas. Same to you guys. We'll talk
So long.
again.
See ya.
Adios.